My first experience with a banned book, or book that I knew to be banned, was with J.D. Salinger's book Catcher in the Rye. Knowing the negative reviews that this book had received, I had conflicting emotions about reading it. The first, I felt like a horrible person for wanting to read this book, and the second, I felt like I was finally taking responsibility for my own reading choices. While it was so long ago that I don't remember the exact details of the story, I remember feeling melancholy when it ended because I related so much to the main character, Holden Caulfield. And I walked away looking at myself and others more closely because I realized our main fear as human beings is authenticity. Books in America are banned for a variety of reasons. According to AmericanLibrariesMagazine.org, 11,300 books have been challenged since 1982. Now, these books have been challenged for lots of reasons, but there are 10 major reasons that a book will come under fire. The first is LGBTQ content, sexually explicit content, profanity, racism, violence, religious viewpoints, sex education, suicide, drug and alcohol abuse, or nudity. People are afraid that their children will be exposed to these ideas too soon, so they lobby to have these books removed from school libraries and curriculums. You've actually probably read banned books. In 2006, Charlotte's Web by E.B. White was banned in Kansas because talking animals are, quote, blasphemous and unnatural. The Diary of Anne Frank has been under fire since 1982 because some people consider Anne's descriptions of her changing body to be sexually explicit, and as 4 members of the Alabama Textbook Committee commented on the book as a whole, it's a real downer. Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck has received a lot of criticism for its profane and vulgar language, and To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee was labeled filthy and trashy. What people need to understand is that books are as much for our education as they are for our entertainment. The beauty of fiction is that you can experience these realities for so many different people. You don't have to kill your child to keep it from experiencing slavery, to be haunted by Toni Morrison's Beloved. You don't have to live in a domestic violence situation to be impacted by Celia's life in Alice Walker's The Color Purple. You don't have to experience a war zone or experience PTSD to come unstuck in time with Billy Pilgrim in Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. You don't have to base your entire value as a human being on whether or not you can produce children to feel the bitterness and rage of Offred in Margaret Atwood's A Handmaid's Tale. When we ban these books, we're overlooking their true meanings. A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley was banned for sexuality, frequent use of drugs by the characters, and there's a suicide. When you know just these few details, it does sound like a terrible book. But the true message is that when you remove the family unit, when you value a person based on their case in society, and when you give them every thought that they will ever have from the time they are tiny up until they're adults, you lose your sense of worth and individuality, and so you try to fill that void with sex and drugs. Also consider Alice Walker's The Color Purple. In The Color Purple, Celie is violently raped by her stepfather, and after producing 2 children, which he gives up for adoption, she's married off to a man that also abuses her. Instead of seeing this as an opportunity to talk about domestic violence and abuse of women, critics wanted this book banned for its sexual explicit content and its violent content. There was also a comment about it being a negative view of men. When we ban these books, we stop asking hard questions. In A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, which has been banned for violence and explicit sexual content, including murder and violent rape, we get to talk about deeper topics like, can we rehabilitate violent criminals? And even deeper than that, is it ethical to remove one's individuality for the safety of the majority? The answer, you'll have to read the book yourself and see. In conclusion, Ray Bradbury, the author of Fahrenheit 451, which is a novel about a post-apocalyptic society where reading is punishable by death and books are burned, Ray Bradbury is quoted as saying, the problem with our country isn't with books being banned, but with people no longer reading. You don't have to burn books to destroy culture. You just have to get people to stop reading. We avoid these books because we want to feel safe, even in our imagination. But these books will cause you to look at people differently. You'll stop passing judgment on people based on their circumstances. Your eyes will be open to the oppression and abuse in the world, and hopefully these books and these stories will give you the courage to speak up and speak out and make a difference.